or the easy popular stuff first? So President Trump, knowing he has to do tariffs and that people voted to have him do tariffs to reindustrialize the country and onshore jobs, he said and has decided to do the tough fight first. Get it out of the way. Shock and awe. Now, out of all the tariffs that President Trump has applied, the ones on China are the most bold of them all. The boldest, I should say. You see, the Chinese Communist Party could very well go into an economic depression over this. Now, whether or not we will go into recession, we will see. Chinese Party is so reliant and dependent. They are so married to the American market that they require unfettered free trade, even though we do not have free trade with the Chinese Communist Party. We are not able to open our banks in China. Many of our goods and services and our products, we're not able to import many of our vehicles. It is not a reciprocal market. Every U.S. tech company is restricted in China. The Chinese Communist Party is showing its hand. They know that this could mean the end of the current Chinese Communist Party uptick over the last 25 years. They know it, they sense it, and they feel it. But understand the sequence of events, because what's coming after this is going to be almost nothing but good news. You start with the tariffs. And then what is coming next? Deregulation, drill baby drill, oil permits, and then no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, extending the Trump tax cuts, major middle class tax cut, heavy machinery depreciation. So you start with the stuff that is going to kind of be a little bit of a gut punch to the markets, and then you build your way up from there. All the while, what tariffs do is they are a forcing function to redomicile companies to the United States. These systemic changes will help us long term. President Trump is looking to implement a long-term systemic change to help make our country stronger. America has for decades operated on a plan of trading U.S. dollars for things produced in other countries. We trade paper for goods. We trade paper for goods. If people ever decide they don't want the paper anymore, we are helpless. China makes things. They engineer them. They design them. They have tens, if not hundreds of millions of people that are in the manufacturing sector. And we believe the propaganda from the free trade absolutists that you are somehow liberated and an enlightened economy if you do nothing but brain work but no body work, as the great Victor Davis Hanson said on our program. Instead, you need both. You need both the brain and the body of an economy. In fact, despite what all of the experts and the prognosticators told us, we are about to see the greatest hardware demand that humanity has had since the Industrial Revolution. Almost all of the wealth that has driven the stock market over the last 10 years, outside of Apple is the exception, has largely been software breakthroughs. Tesla could be the other exception. But you look at Google, you look at Amazon, you look at Meta or Facebook, you look at Netflix. So much of that is software breakthroughs. It's applications, social media data companies. Now, NVIDIA, to their credit, does do a fair amount of hardware, but it's coupled with some software advancements. If we are serious about entering this golden era of America, we have to spark ourselves of the old economic alliances and worldview, the allegiances that have plagued us for quite some time. And the easy decision, the simple decision would be delay it. Extend the good times. Who cares? Draw down the inheritance. It's not our problem. And understand that during COVID, During the lockdowns, we saw on display the instant gratification moral issue. The instant gratification during the lockdowns was print as much money as you can, flood the zone with cheap money, inflate the market. Who cares if your 15-year-old grandkid is going to commit suicide? Who cares if they're going to get fat? Live for the moment. We baby boomers have earned it, and we are going to sell our kids off, and it doesn't matter if they'll be indebted and sick and helpless and abused. That was the moral decision made during COVID. Now we are finally embracing a delayed gratification strategy, one that built the West, and it is not necessarily going to be warmly received of the people that are used to sugar highs and dopamine hits. This is the tough stuff. And on the other side will be a country that can last another 250 years. Still here, making life worse for the American people. President Trump has inherited a disaster from Joe Biden. Biden raided hundreds of billions of dollars from Medicare and used it to fund things like green energy giveaways. We've been covering that on our show. And what did Americans get? We just got stuck with the bill. But one of the most devastating aspects of Biden's Inflation Reduction Act is a hidden provision known as the Biden pill penalty, a policy that's gutted funding for the development of potential life-saving medicines. In just the last 3 years, investments plummeted, forcing researchers to abandon potential breakthroughs for cancer, Alzheimer's, and other deadly diseases. Promising drugs that could have extended lives and even led to cures are on the chopping block. It goes after basic incentives. So what does that mean for you? It means potentially fewer cures and higher costs. The good news is that President Trump is back and Republicans control Congress. Call them today and urge Congress to eliminate the Biden pill penalty before more potential cures are lost. This is the great Rick Santelli from CNBC, who of course had the original Chicago Tea Party rant. Let's play cut 364.
Ultimately, if you live in the U.S. or you live in Europe or you live in China, ultimately what goes on at home,
we are the most
because
dynamic
we spent
economy in the world.
money, and much of that money we spent was in debt. The debt was financed by foreigners.
Some of that money.
They enabled us, just like the Fed enabled us with those capital accounts. I'm saying there is a dark side to the trade deficits. In a different way, I think, than Trump looks at it. I look at it like it does underscore and underpin a type of financial behavior that in the long term hurts us.
That financial behavior that Rick Santelli is pinpointing beautifully is that we will import piles of plastic that we do not need. We will no longer make stuff here. And regardless of the consequences to our own citizenry, we will continue to trade paper for stuff. Paper for stuff. You see, the one advantage that we have is that when a trade war escalates, is that traditionally the country that is in the trade deficit will almost always win the trade war because we have far more cards than the country that is in the trade surplus. So China is actually very reliant on us right now. So much of their material wealth,
I would call a negotiating tariff. What they're saying is, look, if we can get trade back to balance, we would love to get rid of these tariffs. We would love to have no extra tariff on you and have balanced trade with you. What we're not going to tolerate anymore is this situation where we have highly imbalanced trade. And I think what you'll see and what will be in the best interests of other countries is they would much rather work that out and have balanced trade than have a trade war. That's better for them and it's better for us. And so what I hope we're moving toward and what the Trump administration is pushing toward is, look, we can have a big free trade zone of market democracies that all commit to balanced trade, that have very low tariffs, and that keep China out. And that would be a much better economy for the United States, and I think it would be a very good arrangement for our allies as well.
Or in closing here, the trade, let's just say, situation has put a lot of our audience in a little bit place of anxiety. Any message to them of everyday retail investors that are quite worried about the effects of the application of tariffs?
Well, if you're talking about investments in the stock market, I think it's important to say that there is certainly a sort of adjustment going on here. I mean, everybody knows that globalization was very good for corporate profits. If the goal was to maximize corporate profits, then telling companies they could, just shut down their American operations, they could stop dealing with American workers, and they could just set up shop in China. There's no question that drove a lot of profit and that drove a lot of appreciation in stock prices. And so if we're turning that around, if we're reversing that, we should expect that to have an effect on corporations. But just as it had a really negative effect on workers, I would expect this to have a much more positive effect on workers. And the reality is that if you look at the long term, it's not that whatever is good for corporations is good for America. It's that whatever is good for America is going to be good for corporations as well. And if we can get our house in order and actually have a more productive economy, a growing economy, and a healthier nation and a healthier society, I think in the long run that's good. That's going to be plenty good for investors as well. But we really do have to focus on getting our ducks in order first.
Oren, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
My pleasure. Good to see you.
Gaza plans and so on. But there's one thing we tend to overlook: the people of Israel. The war has taken a huge physical and emotional toll on our Jewish brothers and sisters. And that's why I want you to know about the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. I want you to support the important work that they do. IFCJ is on the ground throughout Israel, providing food and life-saving aid to the sick and elderly, even released hostages and their families. Join me and visit ifcj.org/learn more.
Hello, TBN family. As you know, we're living in uncertain times. With inflation, stock market volatility, recession warnings, analysts are urging Americans to get prepared now. That's why I think you should strongly consider gold and silver to help protect your retirement accounts like IRAs and 401ks. Preserve Gold has a 5-star rating, and I encourage you to give them a call. They're giving away a free wealth protection guide to TBN viewers, so give them a call right now.
Call now, 844-78...
Small fee with your county, and boom, your home title has been transferred out of your name. Then they take out loans using your equity or even sell your property. You won't even know it's happened until you get a collection or a foreclosure notice. That's why you need to stop what you're doing and find out today if you're already a victim. Use my promo code Kirk at HometitleLock.com to make sure your title is still in your name. You'll also get a free title history report plus a free 14-day trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud should happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. Go to HometitleLock.com now. Use promo code Kirk. That's home.
Let's be patient. The sky's not falling. Let's give it some time. Pray and see which way this goes and pray for the best for our nation. Hey, tomorrow, David Harris Jr., Chad Prather are here. You won't want to miss it. Until then, God bless you. And we'll see you.